Toastmasters is about more than just giving speeches and listening to speeches and giving evaluations. There is a leadership component. On several of the 10 paths in the new program, and everyone in the old program trying to get a Distinguished Toastmaster Award, you have to complete what's called a High Performance Leadership, HPL, project. And that involves finding a group of volunteers to serve on your committee, identifying and fine-tuning the objectives, and then going through both the material that's provided by Toastmasters, the project itself, and giving a talk at the end to explain to people what you accomplished, what went wrong, what went right, what you learned. You don't necessarily have to be an amazing success in the project. Well, the project that I am about to start, and it will complete my third DTM in the old program, but the new material is roughly what I'm going to use. This project is going to assemble a written document that will help people use Pathways. And let me share screen here in a minute. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, you should be seeing my screen now.
Yes.
So at level 5 in the Persuasive Influence Path, there are a variety of elective projects. In this case, I've done one of them, and a required project on high performance leadership. And roughly 10 of the 10 paths require this. So inside here is all kinds of material about leading a project. Again, what you decide is your project is up to you. There's all kinds of things one might decide to do. So I will close this if I do it right. Shops. Why do we have the need for another guide on Pathways? Well, I've been listening. I'm in 4.5 clubs. 4 clubs I'm an official member of, plus the Women's Prison Club in Pocatello. And I find that a majority of my fellow Toastmasters get stuck. Just plain get stuck. I find that I get stuck. There's all kinds of materials online, but most people either have found them confusing, they don't know how to find them, or they can't simultaneously look at something online and work through Pathways itself. So a paper document would seem to be a possible solution. And that's what we're going to try. So it'll be a booklet, be able to flip pages and find your way through various topics. I'll share my screen here in a minute once I get back to where it was. I have too many things open. Well, maybe I'm not going to get back there. There it is. So, sharing my screen, there we go. I've started a document with the tentative title of Make Your Path, How Not to Get Stuck in Toastmasters Pathways. I have 2 volunteers so far, Dan Carlin and Terry Yackley. They're both members of the Surpassing Excellence Academy Advanced Club. They're also working with the Prison Club, and they're members of the Smile Club in Pocatello. What we're going to do has a table of contents. This is kind of a first start, just to give you a sense of what we're doing. Let me move my camera out of the way so I can see my own screen. How to use the document. What's the table of contents? Glossary. And the glossary is going to focus on the difference between old language and new language in Toastmaster Pathways. I have found that there's quite a bit of confusing language. When I'm talking to someone about pathways, if they haven't gotten into pathways, sometimes it's like I'm using a different foreign language. There's other sources, and I will point to a few of those. We'll be comparing pathways to the traditional program. In all the pathways material that I've read, and Terry has been our division's ambassador on pathways, so she's seen more material than I have. There's no real description of how similar the format of each project in pathways. And in fact, the word project in pathways means something different than it does outside of pathways. So there's two key words there, format and project, in that topic. Some things that are particularly stupid about pathways, what they didn't include, navigation tips, and I've given a past talk to this club on navigation tips. I've given it to other clubs as well. The importance of saving your material. I've had people who have left Toastmasters, and they will use the paper materials that they've had in the past. The problem with Pathways, of course, is it's not paper. If you don't save the material as PDFs or as video files, then when someday you leave Toastmasters, you can't get back to it. As long as you're a member, that's fine. If you're a member, you leave and you come back, you can also get back into it. But if you have left Pathways, left Toastmasters, and you want to refer to vocal variety as an example, you're stuck if you have not saved the material. So that's one of the things that's on the agenda here. Some issues about getting credit for yourself and your club, giving speakers feedback, giving TI, Toastmasters International, feedback on projects. Those of us that are in multiple clubs, we have a couple of special, I'm going to say, confusing elements we have to walk through. And then prison clubs, people without internet access. So this is sort of the table of contents as it stands now. And we're just starting on this. This is sort of things that we're putting together. Difference between old and new pathways. I have not seen a good table on this point. So this is the sort of thing we're starting. Pathways has a lot of advantages. It also has some very confusing things, and mostly, one of the things that really bothers me is that there's material in the old program that's lost. It's not been included, and that's a shame. A good example is the old program. To get to Advanced Communicator Gold, you have to do a seminar, and there's roughly 10, 12, somewhere in there, different options. I've done the art of effective listening as an example. That appears nowhere in the new program, and I don't really understand why, but we'll point that out in this document. This document is not going to be a simple, here's what's great about Pathways document. It's going to be a clear-eyed, good, bad, ugly document. And that will also set it apart from what has come from headquarters, which is all rah-rah, go-go Pathways, which doesn't seem to match the experience that several of us have had so far. So how to get the best out of Pathways while minimizing some of its problems. I'd love for someone in this club to agree to join the team. We will be meeting primarily online, because I will have people from more than one location. In fact, this is my third HPL project, and in all of them, the team I've assembled has been from multiple locations. So I use video for such meetings, which is itself a learning process. So I hope this will be a useful exercise, a useful product for Rise and Shine orators. And I will be thrilled to get your feedback and suggestions after this meeting, as well as we go forward in the next couple of months. I hope this will be of service, and thank you, Madam Toastmaster Irene.
For this new guidebook that you're making, once you get it completed, who's the plan to have it shared with? Oh, you hear me? Steve?
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, okay. Once you get it completed, who all are you planning to have it shared with?
I will make copies on my own dime, of course, because there's no magic pool of money for this. I'll make copies for everyone in the 5 clubs that I'm affiliated with. Beyond that, we'll see. You know, there's Dan Carlin, one of my team members, has published a book, and I believe it's in his 17th printing so far.
Okay. I did something for Mount Ogden Toastmasters, and this may be helpful for you guys as well, is I created a little PowerPoint or there's a lot of screenshots with arrows and boxes of where you need to click to get through to start your pathways. Would that be helpful for your guide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll get that shared with you, and I'll get an email to everyone here too, because it is really important to get started on pathways, since that is the new way we're going. Okay.
That's right.
All right, thank you.
Good, thank you.